Hello, people, and we got some crypto news for you. We're going to do some predictions, of course, and Plan B is stricken again, but let's talk about another Huobi hack. Yes, you might be thinking I'm referencing about the one that just happened 2 days ago, but no, there was another one for $30 million just today. That makes two in like 2.5 days, which is pretty incredible. And it looks like they're going to fully compensate people for this one as well. That's Justin Sun. It looks like Justin Sun really likes paying people tens of millions of dollars for his exchange to actually get hacked. This is the fourth hack affecting HTX in 2 months. Four in 2 months, folks. Not a dependable system. They lost $30 million today. Obviously, I think they've lost about $200 million. How much money does this Justin Sun character have if he's fully able to compensate for everyone? Some people are like, well, he's the one perpetrating the attacks. But why would you offer to pay and fully compensate if you're trying to scam people for money? Some people have suggested, well, he's stealing the money and then paying people back to build confidence. But that's kind of dumb as well, because if your exchange gets hacked, I would guess that you lose the confidence of a lot of investors. Like if I wanted to build confidence for my exchange, I would not want it to get hacked, because no matter how much you compensate, people are going to be like, hey, your exchange is not secure, so we're not going to use your exchange. So let's actually review. The Huobi exchange was hacked for $7.9 million in September. Very little. This was followed by $100 million against Poloniex. Now, Poloniex and Huobi are not the same thing, but they're both owned by Justin Sun, and they kind of both run off the same system. So if one is vulnerable, the other one is most likely vulnerable. So that's the second one. Just a couple of days ago, like a week ago, Huobi got hacked for $86.6 million. And this was just the day before a $30 million hack. Who wants to take bets on how long Huobi is going to take to get hacked once again, folks? I'm going to guess like 5 days. Over or under, guys? Over or under? I think it's going to be about 5 days. It is not like seemed they've fixed the problem. It looks like Huobi is just full of holes. If you can get hacked 4 times in 2 months, you are not a very dependable exchange at all. Maybe they need to rebrand Huobi into like, hey, we're a really easy to hack exchange. I don't know about this, guys. I think like this would actually convince me to never use a Justin Sun based exchange. Not because I don't trust Justin Sun, I don't, but that's not actually the reason. Because it is so easy to hack. And despite the fact that he's willing to pay me back for everything, that's not the point. Like, it's like, I got my house robbed, but I have insurance. I would rather not have to use that insurance and have my house not get robbed. Yes, like if my ADP or whatever, like Home Guard fails and they pay me the insurance money, I would just rather not have to go through that in the first place. So Justin Sun's got some problems with trust, and I would not use Huobi or Poloniex until they get the problem fixed and they do not suffer hacks for at least a year or two. So that's my take on that. There are some people that are saying that grayscale could actually hurt the BTC price. We've actually mentioned this before, but this is from JP Morgan, so take it with a gigantic, enormous grain of salt, because we know JP Morgan likes to manipulate us, just like how they like to manipulate silver. They get caught for it every once in a while and they get a slap on the wrist. The Bitcoin price could come under pressure as some of the money is likely to completely exit the ecosystem. Now, when they convert from the fund to the ETF, that is true. Some of the money could actually exit the ecosystem. But here's the thing. There's going to be so many ETFs that are accepted at once. It's not like Grayscale is going to get accepted in a volume, in a vacuum. So even if this does happen, like the demand from BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK Invest, Franklin Templeton, and others, I think will actually make up for it. So a lot of Grayscale shares have been bought on the secondary market at a deep discount rate to net asset value. That's true. We know the discount was up by like 50, 60% at the beginning of 2023. But the thing is, like, as the years gone on, that discount has actually gotten less and less, where it's nearly disappeared now. When it converts into an ETF, I'm sure people will want to sell those shares that bought at a discount because it's a lot of money being made, a lot of investment money being made, and they're going to want to cash out. But I think JP Morgan is forgetting how many ETFs are actually getting accepted. And like, I think the rush of demand for the ETFs will override any kind of exit that GBTC actually has. There has been about $2.5 billion has flowed into GBTC since the start of the year. And if you look at the short interest, it's 2.7 billion. So there is thinking that it's likely that 2.7 billion would come out of GBTC as these investors take profit from once the GBTC gets converted. But I think the additional supply will be more than 2.7 billion dollars. Like that, there might be like a sudden 1 or 2 day sell off. But remember, BlackRock is predicting almost like pretty much like $100 million a day net flow into Bitcoin once the ETF gets approved, because people will actually want to buy the product. But there is a risk of a preliminary drop-off in the first couple of days, but I think it will be made up very, very soon afterwards, so that's not much of a problem. So let's get on to the predictions now. You know, what I predict for the rest of December is that, well, for November and the rest, like November and December, is that up until 40,000, we've got about 2 or 3 weeks. Each week is going to be 1K difference. Like this week it's between 37 and 38K. Next week or the week after, it's going to be 38 to 39K, and then finally 39 to 40K. I think we're going to be stuck at 40K for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then around New Year's time, we're going to break through 40K. Now, the thing is, we got that Bitcoin ETF. If that actually gets approved on the 12th, I think we're going to be a couple of weeks ahead, because I think that will actually pop the lid on 40K itself. We might retrace under 40K, but once you've popped the lid on 40K, I don't think they can keep the lid on. There is a pretty big sell wall around the 40K area, but we know what the deal is with a lot of these sell walls. They're fake. As soon as you really start attacking them in earnest, they do tend to fall apart, and that's kind of what I'm guessing of the sell wall at 40K. If you really start eating into it, it basically falls flat. Now, this is my prediction, obviously, is different from Plan B. Now, Plan B strikes again, and after 2 years, he's kind of woken up. He believes that between 2024 and 2028, he expects an average Bitcoin price of at least 100,000. Now, the average, obviously, you just take if you do an over time average, I think it's going to be well above 100K at the peak of the bull run. So if you average the next 4 years, it might be 100K. But if you take the median, I think it's going to be much less than 100K. Because remember, this time we retraced to 15,000, and I think next time we could easily retrace to maybe 30, 40,000. So we'll probably be at 30, 40,000 through most of 2025 and 2026. When I say most of 2025, I mean the second half of 2025 and into 2026, pretty much all of 2026. And then probably be below 100K for a decent chunk of 2027 before going back up in 2027 and 2028. So while the over time average might be 100K or more, just because of how much over 100K the bull run is going to be, I think most of the rest of that time is going to be well under 100K and might even be under 50K. So if we have another bull run and it comes under 50K again in the bear market, I do think it is a pretty good time to buy, because 50K will be like our 15K for last cycle. Just like our 15K was like our 3K for last cycle. Each bull run, the absolute ROI will definitely get smaller for Bitcoin, but the amount of money will be ever greater. Because 15K was just a little bit below the maximum for the last bull run. And of course, I think the next low will probably be 2 to 3 times what this particular low was. It's going to seem like a gigantic dip from 150, 160K, losing maybe 70, 80%. But we will have to see how that actually works out. I do think Plan B might actually be wrong, depending on how you calculate the average between 2024 and 2028. Now, Plan B, if you guys didn't know, he got exact predictions right back in 2021 for about 3 months, and then he ended up getting everything else wrong. He still has about 1 million followers on Twitter, but he did get a lot of people wrecked because they thought since he got 3 predictions right, he was going to get the rest of them right for eternity. And obviously, that did not happen because, no one's a prophet in this particular business, and everyone is just guessing at this point. So he's basically telling people to enjoy sub 40K Bitcoin. And although it might never hit 40K again after it goes up, I think 50, 60K is definitely in the cards for the next bear market. And the thing is, if you really want to make money, you're going to have to search for very much low cap coins, that the new ones that actually come up, because each bull run, there's going to be new heroes. And yes, in the next month or two, I do expect random altcoins to pop off. Now, Caspa, I'm not really sure if it's going to keep popping off. I believe it's overpumped, but the whales could pump it some more. But there's going to be coins that we've never heard of, or coins that completely unexpected that pop off, because every month there's one or two of those. That's why it might be okay to have a little bit of money scattered in random coins, because one of them just might pop off and make you that 100x. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.